Hello, lovely people. I'm Sharon and I'm a novice potter from Australia. I did a kiln unload yesterday. Day before yesterday. And where I have my kiln is very dark and it's very backlit right round, and I really can't find anywhere to put my camera first thing in the morning. And I do have a very good camera. I have a Sony mirrorless A9, but it's not a vlogging camera, so I can't see myself. And when I went to edit, all the pieces were super dark, so I really didn't want to show that. So I will insert a couple of little excerpts in there. I love this community. They're so generous and giving and welcoming and supportive. And while I don't do the markets, this is just for fun for me, I really appreciate all the support and everything I'm learning. And as I think I've heard Tiffany from Hobble Creek Pottery say a few times, I've yet to meet a potter I don't like. They all seem to be warm and generous. So for this one, I am going to film up here again on the veranda, and I'm working on the lighting for around the back. We had a couple of disasters on this kiln unloading, and there were a few pieces that aren't mine, and the first one I'll show you isn't mine. And I go to a community group with a friend of mine, and a couple of the girls there wanted a couple of things fired before Christmas, and the community group has closed for Christmas and they don't reopen till the end of January because it's incredibly hot here in summer. We're subtropics. Today it's already, I think, 6:30 in the morning, and it's muggy and humid and hot and yuck. I'm dressed for reformer Pilates, which I've taken up because I've got a bulging disc and a pinched nerve in my SI joint, and I'm trying to strengthen my back. And I'm old. It's a process. When I say I'm old, I'm 67. Just turned 67, but yeah, I'm old. So, on to the pottery. This piece is not mine, and it's gorgeous. However, it has pinhold. It's a little warped, but it has pinhold. And it's a shame. Naomi wants me to refire it, but I had to show you because it's so beautiful. I can't tell you at the moment what glazes she used on this because I don't know her that well, and she didn't say. But obviously, to me, she's tried the peacock technique on this, so that may be running hot chowder. But I'll find out and put it in comments of a future video if anybody wants to know. Another piece that isn't mine is the other lady that pots there needed or wanted this Santa fired for Christmas. And he's stinking cute, isn't he? Again, I can't tell you what the glazes were, but he's so cute and rustic and chunky, and he's gorgeous. There was one other pot. No, I won't show you all of theirs because they're not mine. So there was 3 or 4 other pieces in the kiln, and they haven't said I can show anything, but I really just wanted to show you that I'm going to refire it, and I think it'll be interesting after I refire. I'm going to refire it because Naomi wants me to refire it, and I think it'll be interesting to see that afterwards. The other disasters I had. Now, I watched Julia from Ceramics by Julia, who was just amazing. She's so creative, so artistic, and she calls them weird, but they're really, really creative pieces. So please go and watch her if you're into something a little different in a very stylish way. She did in her last kiln unload, and she's just uploaded another one today actually that I watched, but she did some jingle bells in the last one, and I had the same problem. I had put them on some high fire wire that I bought from Temu and hung them off ceramic rods, and luckily put a cookie under each one because the high fire wire was way too fine, and it just shattered. You can actually see a little bit of the wire in this one that's shattered. But I love them. They jingle. She didn't have any tutorial or anything on how she made them, so I made that up myself. I might do a little video on how I do that actually, because it's, I don't know, just the way I came up with doing it. And I am very much a problem solver, so I have that kind of personality, so I just came up with a way to do them. But look, isn't this one gorgeous? Now that is, just a moment, forgot to get the notes. Okay, didn't pause the camera because they're right there. The jingle bells, this one, and it's quite overcast here so there's no sun, but I do have a tiny bit of video where I filmed some of these pieces in the bright sun, and I was holding the camera so it's a little shaky, but to get the colours properly I'll put a little bit of that at the end. So that one is stone denim. And I'll show you the ball that I put inside of them on the next one, because the next one I actually tapped the cookie that had landed on off the bottom, and I thought it was perfect, and then as I put it down it broke. So the next one was actually probably my favourite one, this one. So that's obsidian and reactive red, which of course I've done quite a bit of since I got obsessed watching Matt from Mud Magic, and a mug she'd done in this combination. I just adored it, so I did that. But when I put it down, part of it snapped off. So this is the little ceramic ball that I put inside, the little clay ball that I bisque fire inside. And none of them stuck inside, but it would have been so beautiful. Anyway, c'est la vie, the kiln gods weren't kind, or I was stupid and didn't put them on the right hangers. I'm going to buy some heavier gauge wire. I do have heavier gauge wire, but it's too heavy, and come up with a way to hang these better. And this one, which fell on a cookie there, but it does jingle. And this one is Mako copper float. In the sun there's a little bit of crystal and pretty colours. It's not as much crystal as I've got before. It does jingle though. So they're those two, which I can grind those off. I won't bother to refire them, I don't think, or I may, just to experiment with how to hang them. So that could be upcoming. I had a lot of things stuck in this kiln opening. This one is from a tutorial I watched by Ceramics by Jazz, and I've done a few things off her tutorials, and a few things in the next kiln, another thing in this one, and a few things in the next kiln unload, which I've actually already taped, and it'll come out after this one, because I have to tape a little bit for the end of that one too. But this one stuck. What I did, Jazz made these tea light holders, and inside you can see is poppy fields. Outside is soft red by Spectrum. On the inside around here is soft red by Spectrum, and the outside is autumn purple, which has really run and stuck it to the cookie. So I will grind that off somehow. I may have to refire because that one's really stuck. I don't know. But however, I didn't want bare clay where you lay them down, so I put white engobe or speckled buff engobe on there. But however, the autumn purple has really run, and I probably should have put it on a flat cookie. These are ones I made off a tutorial by Sarah Walton, and I love them. And I put pots on them, but they've got a raised bit on the inside for the pot to sit up so the glaze drips down, and it stuck to that too, so that'll be an interesting one to get off. I do love it though. I will make more. It's gorgeous, and I love the autumn purple, so I'm going to have to come up with a way around that. These two I have on a previous kiln unload, they were little goblets that my friend that I do a lot of pottery with, who comes over here and joins me, we share everything. And I glazed, she threw them. They're quite hefty actually. She's very much a beginner, very, very much a beginner. And we fired them with micro jade on the outside and alabaster on the inside. However, there were so many pinholes inside. You couldn't drink out of them, and they were for her daughter. So I reglazed them and refired them, and they're now perfect. I think, oh, that one's perfect, and no, this one's perfect. This one has one tiny weeny itsy bitsy little, it's almost not a pinhole, but it won't bother Debbie, it's on the outside. This one hasn't got a single pinhole inside. And again, Mako Micro Jade is the glaze we used on these. They're really sweet. So they're not identical. Neither of us can throw identical things yet, but they're very close and they're glazed the same. So they're a coordinating pair, I guess. This is off another recent tutorial from Ceramics by Jazz, and it's her little houses. And I've made this one. This one is Copper Float by Mako, and it does shine quite a bit in the sun. And the roof is Desert Dusk. And, excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. I will just edit that out. What I'm going to do with this, I've put a hole in the top to string some fine rope or string through. And I'm going to make a couple of ceramic beads, and then I'm going to make some leaves, some long autumn leaves, and glaze them and make a wind chime out of that. I didn't want a tea light holder, and that's going to be a wind chime. Another couple of things, I did some more Santas. This is just one of them. Amico Deep Fabric Red, Micro Pearl, white engobe on the beard, and soft red nose. And I've put black engobe on the bottom of all of them, so there was no kind of white. Where I wipe them back, you often get a little bit of white, and I don't like that against a deep glaze, so I just put black engobe on the bottom so they don't stick but to the cookie, but you don't get the white bits around the edge. This one is a disaster, sort of. I'll be able to grind it off. This is a Santa that my other girlfriend, Sharon, did. And it's Amico Deep Fabric Red, but she's put seaweed on the base. And I wish I'd put on a finer cookie on top of this one. And I didn't. But because even on that, he felt a bit unstable. So I'll have to get the angle grinder onto that one. She put seaweed around the rope and seaweed around here, and micro pearl, white engobe, and abalone nose. So that's her little Santa that I'll have to fix for her, but she's already gone away. She doesn't need it or want it for Christmas. So this is another one of Audrey Lynn's angels. It's my second last one to fire, and this one I did in Mako's new micro in cerulean. The wings are micro pearl, and so is the halo, ropey halo, and the faces are all abalone, I think, from memory. But I love her. She's so cute. We had family Christmas here yesterday, and you'll see in the next video me all dressed up, sort of, for home. And I gave all my daughters, my two daughters and my two granddaughters, an angel for Christmas. And all the guys, my husband, son-in-laws and grandsons, all got a little Christmas Santa to hang on the tree for Christmas. And these are on, I've got a few of Audrey's angels on my tree. I might do a little bit of a tape in there for you. And they look gorgeous on the tree, they really do. In Australia, we don't very often have natural trees. I used to when I was a kid growing up, but I lived about 10 hours drive from here in New South Wales on Lake Macquarie, and very close to where Nat from Mud Magic is, actually. I come from down there. She's a little further south again, but not much, about an hour south of where I grew up. And it's nowhere near as hot and humid. And I tried a couple of times to have a natural tree here, and they only last like 3 days before they just wilt, and all the pine needles fall, and ugh. But we have artificial Christmas trees in Australia, and the angels are a little heavy, but I found, and I'll show you when I film the tree if I remember, I found by hanging a ribbon off there on an artificial tree, like, you know, with a loop about that big, that I can put them right over one of the stronger branches on the artificial tree, and they hang quite nicely there, depending on how large they are. I did make a really large one. It's a little too heavy. So that's it for this kiln unload. There's nothing spectacular in this one, and I couldn't tell you, you know, I guess that's going to be my favourite out of this kiln unload, because it's the only thing that didn't get destroyed. I did have, as I said, quite a few other pieces in that firing, but they're not mine, so I'm not going to show them. However, I am now going to tape a little bit of an ending for my next video, and I'll edit that and upload it probably straight after this one. So stay tuned for that, because it's fabulous. And Nat from Mud Magic, if you're watching this one, which I know you watch a lot of mine, and there's a lot of people now watching a lot of my videos because of Jane from Shoebox, who talked about a lot of people she knew and mentioned me, and Lainey from New Zealand just mentioned me again on her video, and that's so wonderful. And Nat from Mud Magic has a few times, and I'm just blown away by that. I'm just a very small new potter and I do the YouTubing very much for fun. I really enjoy it. I don't mind being on camera. It's a funny story actually, which I'll quickly tell you about. My youngest daughter wanted to start a YouTube channel with a completely other genre, and she was a little nervous about it, and I said, I'll tape something and see how I come across on camera, and see how it goes, and just for kicks and giggles. And I did, and then she rang me, and when I sent it to her and said, good Lord, how natural are you on camera? And I said, am I? And then I got a lot of comments back from her about please do it, and I said, I'm not interested in what you want to do, and I thought, let's do. I did another YouTube channel which is completely unrelated to this, and I liked it, but and then I thought, I'll do a pottery one, and started a pottery channel, and the community here is really going to keep me going, because I just love the way you can tape and go on YouTube and really connect. And so please, if you're thinking of doing it, don't be shy. I know it's really difficult for most people to be on camera and to be natural, and I don't seem to have that problem. I am an extrovert, but I don't seem to have that problem at all. But I like watching the people that are more nervous than me. It's really, really fascinating for me how warm and nurturing that makes me feel. I just want to give them a big hug and say, hey, you're real. You are who you are. And you're not pretending to be anybody else, because I have noticed with YouTubers on different channels not related to pottery, nervous or not, they don't always come across as natural. So just do it. Be yourself. Film yourself. I don't mind making a film of myself, so that probably helps a great deal. And I love this community. I really love this community. So thank you so much for coming along with me and listening to that little spiel. I'm going to tape some more in a moment. Oh, now I'm going to tape a bit that I'm going to have to insert earlier. So just a moment. And after I do that, thank you so much again for joining. Please like and subscribe and help my channel grow, because that's easier when you're doing these things. The more your channel grows, the easier it becomes to do it. The algorithm and all that boring stuff. So now I will pause this and then tape a little bit more of a few things I actually forgot. Be back in a minute. Hello. So me again. You know, I totally forgot my favourite bits from that kiln unload, because I've since done another one and taped it. I had forgotten these super cute things. So, again, following Jazz from Ceramics by Jazz, I did some gnomes. These are so stinking cute. Oh, honestly, this one I glazed in Amico Fire and Ice, and the base of him, you can't see a lot of it, but the base of him was Midnight Run. All their little feet are Duncan Very Black, and all their noses are abalone. Isn't he gorgeous? I love the way the fire and ice breaks over texture. Just make sure my camera focuses properly for you. But yeah, so that's one. This one is Spectrum's Kimchi. And again, the same for the beard. And what did I put on? The body is Ancient Copper. Really doesn't. There's not enough of the body for it to stand out, but it's pretty, but it's not spectacular. And this one's my favourite. This one is The Gorgeous, which I adore. It's probably my new favourite, one of my two new favourite glazes. This is Autumn Purple. Isn't that stunning? And on the bottom, I did Micro Jade. And I love him. He is by far my favourite little gnome. So thank you, Ceramics. Thank you, Jazz from Ceramics by Jazz. I'm doing a lot of things where you've done a video tutorial, because they're so much fun and they're really quite easy. And I got going on some mushrooms. Cannot remember. I did have a normal little one, and I will show you this one. It's on my next video too, actually. This one is what started it all. These little ones that I watched Jane from Shoebox Studio doing all these little mushrooms, and I loved them. So this one is one of those, but it is also in my next kiln unload because somebody stole the last one. I mean that metaphorically. One of my daughters confiscated it yesterday, and of course I'd already taped the film. I did have another one that was the biggest one actually, very quite plain in making, but very long skinny stem and very fine feathery cap, and I dropped it yesterday and it smashed. And that one, the top of it was kimchi. Not kimchi, okay, amaryllis, and it was beautiful. So this one is, and I do keep trying to get my head out of it so it just focuses for you. This one, the cap is Desert Dusk. The little ladybirds on all of them will be Mako's Jungle Gems in Ladybug. The gills in this one is Soft Red by Spectrum. I think the little echidna is Mocha Marble. But yeah, I love my little mushrooms. And the beauty of making mushrooms is mushrooms grow in so many weird and wonderful styles and whatever, but you really can't make a bad one, can you? This one is quite hefty, and I threw everything at this one. I think it was the last one I made. So this one, it's got a snail on it. It's got another little mushroom with a Jungle Gems ladybug cap. It's got a ladybug on it. The gills underneath this one. And this thing has a really odd name that sounds a bit almost rude to me, so I call it a skirt. And these under gills are autumn purple. And actually, that's probably my favourite from this kiln. The top is, of course, the amazing Nat from Mud Magic Poppy Fields by Mako Jungle Gems. Look cute. So that would be my kiln favourite, I guess. So, thank you very much for watching again.